as promised, I have a very special guest in the studio today. Her name is Amanda Balltrip, and she is with the McNeil Voice Studio at the Carnegie Community Arts Center. And she's here to talk to us a little bit about the upcoming Tunes at Noon this weekend, because, Amanda, you are the Tunes at Noon, right?
I am the Tunes at Noon this Friday at noon. Debbie McDonald and I will be presenting a short recital of arias, operatic arias, and we've been working very hard on this. And this will actually be my first time sharing these arias with a public audience. They're all new arias for me, so I'm really excited to share them.
And for people who aren't really familiar with opera, now arias, basically what they're getting is like opera's greatest hits in here. You're not, this is not going to be a hardcore introduction to opera where you come and watch the whole thing. This is going to be songs from operas that everybody can enjoy.
Absolutely. Each aria is about 4 to 5 minutes long, and yes, they are definitely opera's greatest hits.
Now, do you know, have we had like an actual opera performance for Tunes at Noon before?
No, not to my knowledge.
Not to mine either. So you will probably be the first. And how great is Debbie?
Oh, she's wonderful. We are really lucky to have her in this community. She's a high caliber pianist.
You know her nickname in the theater world around here is Peg Leg Peg.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so, I'm going to have to tease her about that later.
You can call her Peg Leg Peg later on. Now, Tunes at Noon is really not the only thing you've got coming up here. You actually have something tomorrow also.
Yes, I will be at Transylvania University tomorrow for a faculty recital. They have asked me to premiere a couple of new works composed by Larry Barnes with poetry by Frank X. Walker, who I am very much a big fan of. He was the executive director of GSA when I was in GSA in 2001. That's Governor's School for the Arts. So I'm really excited to have been invited to be a part of tomorrow's evening at Transy.
And another one that's the big one in my mind that's coming up on November 7th in Lexington, the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions. You're auditioning for the Metropolitan Opera? What is that about?
It's sort of like American Idol of opera. It is a international competition, but it's hosted here in the States, and each state is its own district. So if you advance, the Kentucky district is in Lexington. If you advance from there, then the regionals are held in Memphis, Tennessee. And if you advance to the semifinals, then you get to sing on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera at Lincoln Center.
Very awesome.
And if you advance to the finals, then you get to sing on the stage at Lincoln Center with the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra. So, and it's a fantastic audition competition also because you get to speak to the judges afterward. And this year's judges at the district level in Kentucky are very, very high level. So I'm excited to present and to compete.
Absolutely. We'll break a leg on that one. And again, Tunes at Noon. Now, this is at the Carnegie Community Arts Center, right in downtown Somerset. If they just want to come and watch, it's absolutely free. But it's Tunes at Noon, which means you can buy a lunch there, too, right?
Yes. B.G. Burnett is our chef, and he's going to be making homemade chili. So come on down.
Chili is my favorite food, just FYI.
Yes. It's sure to be delicious. You can come and enjoy lunch and enjoy your friends and the company, and then we will sing some tunes for you.
Now, one thing, you know, a lot of people, when you think about someone who loves opera, there's a certain age bracket that people tend to put in there. You are a young woman. How does someone like you? How did you get into opera? I mean, why aren't you listening to, you know, Maroon 5? Why opera? How did that happen to you?
Well, I do listen to Maroon 5, but for me it started with just a basic love of singing constantly as a kid. And that turned into taking voice lessons from the age of 10, and that turned into doing music theater at Jenny Wiley Theater in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. And that led to Governor's School for the Arts, and then eventually to University of Kentucky, where I studied with a woman named Gail Robinson in my undergrad. She was, before coming to Kentucky, she was the head of the Linda Men Young Artist program at the Metropolitan Opera, and she also ran the National Council auditions. And she heard something in my voice that she felt could be cultivated into a full lyric soprano. Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. Do you remember what your first aria that you learned was?
Yes, it was Quando men vo by Puccini from La Bohème. La Bohème is what Rent is based on. So I don't remember the character's name in Rent, the real spicy, saucy one that Idina Menzel plays. Anyway, yes,
Maureen?
It was Maureen. Yes. Quando men vo was my first aria, and that was actually given to me my senior year of high school, which is typically not done. That's a bit of an aria to sing when you're 17.
I would imagine. And so that was your. Do you still perform that on occasion?
I do. Yes.
Are you going to break that one out on Friday?
Maybe you'll have to come and see.
If the crowd started chanting for that one, it just might happen. Is what you're telling me.
It just might happen. It's definitely a tune that everyone would recognize.
Now, let's make sure that people know about, at the Carnegie Community Arts Center, the McNeil Voice Studio, which is where you work. And from what I understand, it's you and Maria, but you're teaching entirely different styles of voice, right? Basically, if you'd like to learn to sound like Kathleen Battle, it's you. If you want to learn to sound like Alicia Keys, it's Maria. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, not quite. You are correct in that our training is very different. Her background is jazz and songwriting. Her degree is from Berklee College of Music in Boston, which is a fantastic program. And my training is absolutely classical, bel canto, the Italian style of classical training. But that does not mean that I'm going to teach all of my students how to sing classically or train them to sing opera. The common base that Maria and I have is we want our students to have a healthy voice, healthy singing technique, and that's applied across the board, whether you are singing country or pop or rock or opera. We just want longevity in your singing life and a joy of singing.
Well, if somebody wanted to check in to the McNeil Voice Studio at the Carnegie Community Arts Center, and if they wanted to deal with you personally, how would they go about doing that?
You can always come to the Carnegie. I'm always there Mondays and Fridays. You can also contact me at balltripvoicestudio@gmail.com or go to mcneilvoicestudio.com.
Well, thanks so much. And did you? How appropriate that you are in here today on Andre Bocelli's birthday. Were you aware?
I was not.
Well, today is Bocelli's birthday, so how appropriate that you could be in here with us.
Tanti auguri.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. And again, want to remind everybody, Tunes at noon this Friday. You know what time it is. It's Tunes at noon. And it's free to come listen to some great music, and you can always get that great meal, too. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up here, Amanda?
I love being in Somerset, and one of the things that has impressed me so much is the level of artistry and artists that I have met, and I hope that we, as a community, can continue to lift up the arts here.
Well, thanks so much. Again, we've been talking to Amanda Balltrip. She is with the McNeil Voice Studio at the Carnegie Community Arts Center right there in downtown Somerset, and she is going to be doing this Friday's Tunes at Noon. Amanda, thanks so much for coming in and talking to us today.
Thank you.